events of the Great War, the Second World War, had great bearing on the struggle for Kenya's independence. The events of the past 1 or 2 weeks in the country, where we have witnessed political leaders parading their nude bodies, engaged in all manner of orgies, will have a great bearing on the direction the country will take in the coming days. During the Second World War, Kenyans who went to participate in the war on the side of the British Empire, who were our colonial masters, Kenyans who went in the campaigns in places like Egypt and Burma and elsewhere, came with stories that affected the struggle for our independence. Events that finally led to the formation of Mau Mau and the declaration of the state of emergency. Kenyans who came back from the war came back with tales of white men they saw trembling like other human beings, bleeding like any other human being, writhing in pain. Oh, mama yangu, mother, mom, dying. Hitherto, the white man had presented himself in this country like a god. You take it back to the days of Sir Charles Eliot, around 1905, and of the vetting of people who had participated in the First World War, the white soldiers who came to be rewarded with farms in this country. Land would be offered to them for free in the White Highlands. Wonderful climate. You wouldn't know you are not in Europe. But there were 2 conditions to avoid the situation that had played out in South Africa. Any white man landing and docking in Mombasa would have to be vetted for 2 things. One, they would have to have no physical deformity. 2, you'd have to have a minimum amount of money. So they didn't want vagabonds, people also with deformities, to come and mar the image of a white man they wanted to create. Because they had already realized it would be difficult to get labor. They tried to get labor from the Maasai, the earlier ones. The Maasai were wild. The Kambas were wild. Later on, they introduced taxes to force the Kikuyus to work for them. I think the Kikuyus somehow got the money through goat sale. But effort was to be maintained so that when they finally got labor from the Kavirondo Gulf and other places, you had to paint the picture of a white man who was a god. Now, when people went to the Second World War, and they saw white men were just like other human beings, they came back with those stories. That gave impetus to the fight for the struggle for independence for this country. The point I'm trying to make is that throughout history, groups of persons have always presented themselves as special. The atrocities committed against black people by white people was justified in various ways. But more so by creating the white race as if they were superior, equivalent to God. Even in the religious dogmas, you'll find that the reason why some people were able to pass across edicts, taboos presented as religious dogma, as religious teachings, was because a group of people acting in what they believed was the interest of society approached society with those things, but they did not come like normal human beings. The point I want to make is simple today. The people who lead us in this country must know that those you lead hold you in a certain esteem. They may not see you as gods in the manner I described earlier, but there must be something about you that makes people submit themselves to you. The young man who trembles outside your house when it is cold in July and raining as you sleep in your house, and you give them 10,000 shillings per month, doesn't do so just because of the 10,000. They hold you in a certain place. When it comes to leadership, people view you and hold you in a certain way. That's why when you enter your office, Harambe House, people know the minister has walked in. They stop what they are doing. If they are chatting, as you pass, they stop. They hold a minister in a certain place. I want to remind leaders, you are holding a pot, earthen pot, which if you drop down, all you will have will be pieces and not a pot. That is what leadership is. In the past 1 or 2 weeks, there have been horrifying images of people who hold serious cabinets, serious government positions, naked in bed, engaged all manner of orgies. Now, if this is not true, the instruments of state must be brought to bear to share with the public the truth. It must therefore not be left, for example, to Millicent Omanga to deny that that is her, or a menace from my place. This thing goes beyond individuals. It's about the collective government. It's about Kenyans wondering whether the people who lead them can treat them to this. When the images of a woman serving at a high level circulate in social media everywhere, when our leaders slap small boys and nothing happens to them, when a member of parliament shoots a man dead, nothing happens to them. They are walking. They go to parliament and take oath of office. When my friend, a former MP, engages in a quarrel over half an acre of land and shoots, the people are beginning to wonder whether you still have that pot. That pot is going to break. And for leaders who are clean, you must fight to maintain your place in leadership. Because a time is coming, just like the returning soldiers from the Second World War, who came with the story that the Mzungu is just a human being like us, A time is coming when these small people you lead will begin to tell you off. That time is coming. And when that time comes, you will be contributing to the creation of a state of anarchy. These are not matters to play around with. There is no country in the world. It must be a horrible country if there is one, where these kind of things can be exposed about a person who occupies a high public office, and neither that person nor the government does something about it. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. And for your information, it doesn't have to be true. It's not about the objective reality. And that's why I have said it is up to government using the instruments of state, including the intelligence, the police, to find out the truth of these things. And if these things are not true, as indeed they may not be true, to share the same with the public. Because this is going to spell doom. And I'm talking about the political elite. You are only up there because people down here have a certain view of you. When you dismantle that view of you, I can assure you, what we call leadership will be at great danger. When a minister will walk to an office and people are clicking, pulling chairs, that time will be a dangerous time for the country. And therefore, I call upon the president, because I know we have suspended, if not thrown away altogether, the provisions of Article 10 that talks about integrity, about values, and Chapter 6 on integrity. Chapter 10 talks about conducting yourself as a public officer in a manner that brings honor to your office, doesn't bring disrespect, doesn't bring shame to the country. And I want to tell leaders, you are yourself up to a certain point. The moment you agree to enter public office, especially high public office of cabinet secretary, member of parliament, governor, senator, assistant minister or CAS, you are not yourself. You are owned by the people of the Republic of Kenya. If you feel it is your right to engage in certain things, if you suffer from sexual addiction, if you want to engage with porn stars, haki yako. If you need the sort of sunsets we've seen in those videos of the hits, you are perfect right as an individual, as a human being. But you cannot be a public officer if you must engage in those things. If you are a mature woman who is supposed to be respected, but feels, and is your right, to be serviced by young boys, binturns, I hear they are called, is your choice. Haki yako. But first, give us back our office. Don't be unfair to us. Don't step down on our integrity and our respect and our honor as a country. Because once you are at that level, you are not yourself. Leave our office. Become yourself. Do what you want with yourself. I address myself to the President of the Republic of Kenya. Save Kenyans from this shame. The countries where you are all dying to go, where when you are denied a visa you want to cry, those countries cannot take this. There's no way a cabinet minister can have his nudes in the newspapers in Europe, on social media in Europe, and they go back to the office the following day. Maybe even if they are innocent, but that is shown in the public. They will not go back to the office. They will not even wait to be sacked. But I've said repeatedly, as I end, if we are okay with this country remaining a poor third world, a poor, dirty third world country, let's continue in this manner. But if we want to deliver unto our children a country they will be proud to live in, we must know leadership central to the development of our country. And when leadership is tainted, a country cannot move forward. The president cannot, therefore, close his eyes to what is happening in the country. The president cannot have his ministers having their nude bodies circulating in the whole country. Presidential appointees at that level cannot engage in the sort of things we are seeing in the bedroom. And what do you say about our children? That must be brought to an end. Because I'm saying the fight for the struggle for independence picked up when returning Kenyans from the Second World War came to say, Mzungu is just a human being like you. He can bleed, he can cry, he can live in pain, he can die. So leaders are telling us they are just like any one of us right away from Kibra to Karen. Once that happens, then what? Why are you there? The people of Kibra will also want to know why are you there. And by them respecting you, leaders, you get away with a lot of things. The good things you enjoy, these small people also want. The things you enjoy, your watchman also wants them. Your gardener, your driver. But because they hold you in certain respect, they drive you even odd hours of the night. In lonely places, you are a woman beautiful with a nice scent, designer perfume. Your driver respects you because she holds you in a certain. She cannot stop the vehicle in the middle of the night somewhere and do things to you because she holds you in esteem. You are part of the people she respects, that the leadership of this country he respects. When your driver drives your girls and they are in the bikinis going to swim, coming back at night from parties, the only reason why he may not do all manner of things which he can do is because he holds you in a certain esteem. And therefore the leadership of this country, Musishokore Raia, you'll pay for it.